Joined with Dr. Peter McCullough. Dr. Peter McCullough, thank you so much for joining me, man. I mean, everyone knows my stance on vaccines. I stay away from them. I kind of knew the agenda from the get-go, from back before 2020. And I've always thought they were nefarious. Not that they started out that way. I'm not going to say the vaccine started out like that, but it just definitely took on. We all saw the agenda, right? We all saw what happened in 2020 where they were pushing everyone to get it, and it looked very nefarious to me and to many others. Thank God I saw the signs before it happened, so I didn't take them, but my parents took them, and they both now have severe dementia and seizures. And that,
Oh,
given they're in their 80s, right? My dad's 90, my mom's 85, but it happened so fast right after they took the vaccine. It was like just a cascade effect. All of a sudden, they have severe dementia and seizures, and they never had that before. Doctor, thank you for joining me.
thank you so much for having me. I just got off a big program in Europe, and doctors over there seeing the same thing. The COVID vaccines have led to record injuries, disabilities, and deaths, and so many now new unusual diseases. Your parents should be enjoying their retirement. They shouldn't be suffering with seizures and advanced dementia.
It's horrible. It's horrible to see. And, there's a fine line, especially from a professional like you, right? I can say what I want. I'm a podcaster. I get to say whatever comes on my mind. But I am a firm believer in this dark agenda on what they were really trying to do using problem, reaction, solution, using COVID, not only just as a way to steal the election and do things like that, but COVID to get everyone in lockstep to take these vaccines. And I think there's enough proof there to show that this was a depopulation agenda. Now, I can say things like that. I know you have to kind of walk a finer line, but do you think, close to the target here, in your opinion?
It's impossible to assign motive. We do have, in our most recent book, Vaccines, Mythology, Ideology, and Reality, we do divide it up into epochs of time. And from 2003 forward is what we term the bioweapons era of vaccination,
From
where
2003.
2003, that's
Ooh.
right, from the U.S. biological threats legislation and forward. And we chronicle, this is just a historical book. This is not conjecture in any way. The timeline's really important, Nino. So in the bioweapons era, listen to this, 2004, Congress passes the BioShield Act to accelerate research, development, purchase, and availability of effective countermeasures against clinical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. Okay, 2005, the passage of the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act, or PrEP Act, grants liability protection for countermeasures such as new vaccines against biological agents. 2014 to 2020, lab experiments are conducted to modify SARS bat coronaviruses to infect human respiratory tract for the dual purpose of creating a pathogen and vaccines to counter it. I mean, there is just numerous papers in the peer-reviewed literature. We
And
have entered a period where governments, including the United States government, is considering the possibility of a population biological threat and then an answer being a vaccine.
wow. So do you think anybody who has been vaccinated after 2003 has something to worry about? Obviously, because this is when it all came into effect. Would you say 2003 and forward, we should all be kind of worried? I mean, have we shortened our lifespans here? I mean, because I thought the real dangerous vaccine was the mRNA. Like, that's the technology, the nanotechnology that we should all be worried about.
Well, the very first kind of biological threat response vaccine in this kind of bioterror, we have a chapter called the bioterror racket. And it turns out it's the anthrax vaccine.
Wow.
Anthrax vaccine, yeah. Remember, there's no threat from anthrax from herding sheep or cattle, what have you. the threat really is in actual war. And so the great concern would be that what if an adversary sprayed anthrax spores on it, and that's what that's what stimulated the U.S. government to work on an anthrax vaccine. So in 1997, Secretary of Defense William Cohen went so far to mandate that all U.S. soldiers and airmen receive the new anthrax vaccine. That's 1997. It's largely believed that the anthrax vaccine is actually what caused Gulf War syndrome, since it only happened to the American soldiers who took the vaccine. So, I mean, there was never actually a U.S. soldier's never been confronted with anthrax from an adversary. Now, in this whole craziness, one of the vaccine developers at Fort Detrick in Washington, he actually sent envelopes of anthrax spores to several senators and media people to kind of scare them into continuing to push for anthrax vaccination. The soldiers wanted to pull back on this, and so this kind of mad scientist essentially tried to scare people into more anthrax vaccine, and he was successful. So this history of this is not good. And when the U.S. House of Representatives subcommittee on coronavirus investigations, when they interviewed people, they interviewed Peter Daszak at the EcoHealth Alliance. He was part of the collaboration between Anthony Fauci and Ralph Baric at UNC Chapel Hill and Dr. Xingling Li, the bat lady in Wuhan. He's part of that group. Daszak said he has more samples in the Wuhan lab that are left there. He could have COVID-20 or COVID-21. These biolabs are filled with threats that can infect human populations.
So this is just beginning. This is going to be the way of living from here forward. Let me ask you this. The mRNA vaccine, it's just a delivery system. That's the technology behind it, right? It's the delivery system on how it gets into the cells. Now, there's a lot of stuff on the spike proteins that are coming out. Can you explain to my audience how this works, how the COVID vaccine works? Because I had a vaccine auditor on my program, and her name escapes me for the moment, but she talked about a substance within the vaccine called luciferase that had a glowing, when she put it against a black backdrop, she noticed it was glowing. It had a glowing tint to it. Now, that just sounds like something I don't want to put in my body, period, right? Like, what is going on here? Can you explain I've had other doctors on that have done their own independent studies that say when they add the vaccine to the blood turns gray, it like dies. What can you say about the COVID vaccine? Are they all batches different? I mean, what is mRNA? What's the delivery system? What are the spike proteins?
Let's get into it. So, did you get COVID yourself?
Probably, but I felt like you had to believe in it for it.
That's so awesome. Okay,
I felt I don't know. I think I had the flu.
So here's the virus, and the virus has these little points on it. That's the spike protein. That is the part that was engineered in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The spike protein is all the badness of the virus is in the spike protein. That's what killed people, the spike protein.
Those little prongs that are hanging off.
These little prongs. These prongs break off and get stuck in the body.
Now, is every virus like that, or is that just COVID?
No, just the
But
coronavirus.
that was designed.
Yeah, so it's designed. Now, the vaccine is the genetic code just for the spike protein, Pfizer, Moderna. Not the whole thing, just the spike protein. And the vaccine delivers a massive amount of these little proteins to the body. Massive. The human body cannot break these down with its own enzymes. So
Do
once
they multiply in the body?
Well, the vaccine multiplies the spike protein in the body indefinitely, as far as we can tell. Nothing shuts off Pfizer or Moderna. So once there's a shot, there's endless production of this spike protein. And so it builds up in the body.
Leading to?
Well, it goes into the heart for sure and causes heart damage. We think that's the cause of these cardiac arrests. For sure, the spike protein is in blood clots, for sure, causes blood clots. A recent paper by Ota and colleagues found the spike protein in the blood vessels in the brain, and when they burst and there's an intracranial hemorrhage, that in fact the spike protein is kind of eaten away at the blood vessels. That was a very important paper. The spike protein folds and becomes amyloidogenic and causes these plaques in dementia. The spike protein inhibits two important cancer surveillance systems and may accelerate cancer. The body tries to react to the spike protein and causes autoimmunity. The spike protein is the most, it's the most dangerous protein I've ever seen in my medical and scientific career. The body cannot get rid of it. And, when you have COVID, you get a little bit of it in your body, and hopefully you can get it out. And then when you take the vaccine, you're massively loaded with it, and the vaccine keeps producing more. And that's the reason why I've been working so hard in coming up with research and methods to help people get the spike protein out of the body.
What methods are there to get these out? How can anybody get these out? I mean, it sounds like it's almost like it self-replicates in the body, right? It just keeps replicating and multiplying.
Well, for the vaccines, it does. With COVID, it may not be the case. So there's a couple natural products that are proven to dissolve the spike protein. So the first one is called nattokinase. Nattokinase. It's derived from the fermentation of the most current product is fermentation of chickpeas. Another one is called bromelain. Bromelain's a family of enzymes derived from pineapple. And the third one that helps block the spike protein is curcumin from turmeric. So these are combined in a good set of products by the Wellness Company, and it's called the Ultimate Spike Detox. You can remember that, David.